What if it's a week before, they don't know their lines?
Oh God. Look, I always tell my actors the same thing. Like being off book, because that's what it's called, being off book. Mm-hmm. Being off book, that's your responsibility. That's not mine. You're the one that's going to look like an asshole opening night when you don't know your fucking lines.
Right.
Not me. My job's done opening night. Do you want to look like an idiot? No, you don't. And that's usually inspires people to, hey, I got to get my shit together and I better run my lines.
Pilas.
Yeah, exactly. And I tell you, I say that early on because a lot of actors will come to you in the beginning and say, well, what's the off-book deadline? Because a lot of directors will say, hey, you got to know your words by this day. Scripts come down. And I always tell them, hey, that's your process. If you need to have the book in your hand till tech weekend or preview, that's your process.
That
but
doesn't get you.
You're you're the one that's gonna look like an idiot in front of all your other castmates.
Special team touchdowns, but the backfield and the defense.
Yeah,
that was a lack. They dropped too quick.
I mean, again, Kansas City came down here and did the same thing. I was at that Kansas City game and. God,
we were close though, man.
Travis Kelce is a beast. He is a beast. Like, to see a human being that big run that fast across the field, it's amazing.
I think Gesicki could get there. He just needs coaching.
He could. I mean, Travis Kelce didn't come into the NFL like that.
Correct.
I mean, he developed over the years, but yeah, I hope Miami can develop too into something real.
I think we can make it happen. I think we can make it.
Ladies and gentlemen, how you doing? That's the natural THC right there. That's how you conjure the spirits, ladies and gentlemen. How you doing today? How's life? You know, we in the middle of a pandemic, but in the middle of a pandemic, we still find a way to bring you the finest talents coming out of La Sahuesera today. You know what I'm talking about? Ladies and gentlemen, it's your motherfucking boy, Gamero, the Pharaoh, the poor man's Robert De Niro. How you doing? And I gotta choke out my guests, you know what I'm talking about? That's all you want. Ladies and gentlemen, to my right-hand side, who do we have? We have a man who you see sometimes, you see sporadically. This man's a man of mystery. You know what I'm saying? Last time we had some scheduling conflicts.
John Cena, boy.
Man could like John Cena, you can't see him. You know, but he's here today. You know what I'm talking about? And what does that shirt says? Talk to me, Goose. You know what I'm talking about? That's beautiful right there with a pair of shades.
Hell yeah, that's that Top Gun. That's that Top Gun. We got
Top
Tom
Gun
Cruise.
reference. Top Gun reference.
The TC on the wall back there.
Shout out Scientology. Ladies and gentlemen, to my right-hand side, you have your co-host, Emmy in his house. What's going on?
There we go. Shout out Trevor. It's an awesome shirt. Thank you.
There you go. Ladies and gentlemen, behind the scenes, you know what I'm saying? Behind the cameras, you see him on the GoPro. You see those luscious locks of hair. What I'm talking about, this man is a wizard with the clippers. Let's say you have a date night and you have to get right for said date night. There's only one man for the job, ladies and gentlemen, and that's Diego Miami Barber in his house.
What's good, my people? What's good?
Was good. And the man's got a microphone.
Man of many words.
The man's got a microphone, and the man's got residual effects of marijuana. How you doing? You know what I'm talking about? There you go. Ladies and gentlemen, to my left-hand side, I am oh so very ecstatic, so very honored to introduce the next guest that we have in our studio. You know what I'm talking about? This man is a man who works on his craft day in and day out. I've known this man for a number of years. I've actually had the honor, the privilege to share the stage with this oh so very talented man to my left-hand side. Ladies and gentlemen, I am also very ecstatic to introduce to you, ladies and gentlemen, artistic director at Main Street Players, ladies and gentlemen, Danny Nieves.
Thank you.
House.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for coming.
Absolutely, brother.
How you doing?
Absolutely.
I'm digging the Marlins polo.
Thank you.
You know, repping Miami.
Repping the home team. That's right.
Got to do it. Danny, talk to me. How has, I start off, most people that are in the artistic world in one way or another, because I think they are some of the people that are most affected. given the fact that most people can't perform unless it's some sort of online forum or something of the sort. Given that you are so dialed in, being an artistic director of a theater company, how has this pandemic affected you?
Whew, wow, where to begin? Well, I mean, we actually got to do a show in 2020. It opened in February of last year, and 2 weeks later, the whole world went into lockdown. And
okay, so you started pre-pandy.
Yeah, the season started pre-pandy. That's one way to one way to do it. That's one way to do it. So we started it pre-pandemic, and we did notice that for such a show that we were banking so much on. The show was called Church and State. It's about guns. It's about God, and it's about America. It didn't do as well as we had thought. Yeah.
Amen.
It didn't do as well as we thought numbers-wise. And looking back, we were like, damn, people already were getting that feeling of, do I really want to go see a show right now? This pandemic is coming. People already kind of knew. And then by March, it was over and things got shut down. And we sort of delayed the cancellation, making it official. But by like July, it was pretty evident that we weren't going to be able to do anything during 2020. So that's
you were all the way to July.
Yeah.
Good
yeah.
grief.
We just kept postponing and like, no, we'll try. Right. But by July, it was like, dude, nothing's going to change. There's no silver magic bullet on the horizon. It was going to be a full on cancellation. And that's when we decided to make it official and cancel it. And that's that a lot of theaters really never came out from the jump and said, hey, we're canceling. A lot of people really held out hope.
The whole way we handled it was weird.
And there was so much uncertainty in those times where it was like we didn't know how long this was going to last. I remember thinking, this lockdown's just going to be a couple of weeks, no big deal. Like by the summer we'll be back up and running, it'll be no problem. But nah, man, by the summer it was like, yo, are we gonna have Christmas this year? And
so what are those company meetings like? How do they progress as far as like having that, like you said, that silver bullet or that silver lining? Hey guys, give it 2 weeks and we're back in action. Those 2 weeks came and nothing happened.
I mean, luckily the board was pretty much working together. So our board's very close. We all know each other for a long time, and I think everybody knew that we're all in this together. So there wasn't a lot of like infighting or bickering or like, oh, I think we should come back or I think we don't. Honestly, the theater community is all in it together. You know what I mean? And all the theater companies have kind of helped each other out. I've been involved in a couple of Zoom meetings with artistic directors from in the community, kind of sharing best practices and bouncing ideas off of each other for what to do, how to come back next year and what ways to come back. So, there's a lot of good things hopefully coming in 2021. And hopefully theaters can open back up to some capacity. Who knows? I mean, we all hope to come back next year. It's going to look a little different. There's no doubt about it. We are definitely going to be social distancing. We'll definitely have, sanitation, masks is going to be mandatory, the whole nine. I mean, stuff that people have already getting used to. So, but yeah, that's what it is, man. It's a new world.
Yeah. Do you, and speaking of a new world, do you foresee Main Street doing something along the lines of experimental theater in the sense of like, I know there was a production called Seven Deadly Sins, and they have actors behind glass walls or something like that. Do you guys foresee yourself doing anything like that? Not going that extent? What do you see?
How do you mean, like the stage from the audience is covered with plexi?
Yeah, I can kind of talk to you because I'm familiar with the show. I'm actually probably going to be going to see it next weekend because I know a few of the people that are in it. Very cool. Basically, they've taken these empty storefronts and they've turned them into performance spaces. And you, as the audience member, you're sitting outside with a microphone and a little headset, not a mic, but a little headset, and you're listening to the show. So you watch all 7 shows play out throughout the course of the night, and you're kind of on the sidewalk. As for MSP getting experimental, I mean, we're definitely going to be bringing theater to our patrons differently. We hope we can put some of our work online and make it available online as well. And obviously the in-person experience will still be sort of the same, but we got to do us. We can't do what other people do. You know what I mean? And we got to keep it true to ourselves. And ultimately our black box space allows us to do what it allows us to do. And I'll tell you, outside theater in South Florida only works, this time of year. But let's be honest, dudes, by like March and April, it's unbearable. And then the rain's in the summer and you're fighting mosquitoes. And
unless you're doing theater by the pool, bro.
Right, exactly. So the long-term goal is to get us back in the performance space, obviously following the rules that are laid out by the CDC and by the local government and not putting people in danger. That's the number one thing. I know that, this company, Miami New Drama, has worked very hard on keeping their people safe and trying to be as by the book as possible. And I don't know how they're doing it.
Right.
God bless them, man. God bless them how they're doing it. But I know they're doing something a lot bigger than MSP would be able to undertake. I mean, I have 7 different shows with all those actors and all those tech people. That's a huge undertaking. So
so it's 7 different.
It's 7 different shows.
Wow!
You're watching 7 different shows throughout
I thought
the course
it was
of the
one
evening.
show. That was
No,
wow.
it's one program.
Right.
You're watching one story, but it's 7 different little vignettes. In each little storefront. So.
Danny, how did your journey with Main Street begin?
Okay, so I graduated from FIU in 2011, and they had an audition for a play called Extremities. It's a play about a rapist, and the rape goes wrong, and the girl eventually turns the tables on the rapist, and she tortures him for like 2 hours, and really great, really great stuff. Really heartwarming, heartwarming kind of stuff.
Family-friendly event of the year.
Yeah, so I got cast in it as the rapist, and
oh shit! Okay,
and
all right.
that's how I got my start. And I've been working with them pretty much exclusively ever since. I've done other things here and there, but MSP is really where my heart's always been, and they've always treated me like family, and I've always enjoyed working there. And it's honestly, Miami Lakes is a beautiful little community. I mean, you worked down there with me, Juan, when we did that Alliance play.
Yeah.
And it's a beautiful little street, with the lights and the restaurants, and it's very community. And honestly, there's nothing like leaving rehearsal and you're in a nice little area.
You are.
Dude, I've been in some theaters that are on the wrong side of the tracks.
Yeah.
That it's a place that, like, when the show's done, you're like, yo, let's get out of here.
Yeah.
I do not
You
want to
gotta
hang
put
around here.
What's the thing on your on the driving
Yeah,
wheel?
the club.
The club.
The club, dude.
Just make sure.
Yeah.
The train track. Actually, I know exactly what theater you're talking about.
Yeah.
I guess we'll keep that one. Wraps, huh?
I ain't gonna call out anybody by name, but yeah, there's
because I work
theaters.
there.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, it's not the people. The people that you work with are outstanding people.
Right.
It's not their fault that the theater was just
where it's
in a
located.
not a
Right.
great location. It's not on them. They didn't build that space. They just came to have it and to use it. And honestly, even in those spaces, in the most questionable of neighborhoods, you can still make magic happen, and you can still see
100%.
great theater, and you can still work with some really fantastic people.
100%. How did your journey from? Because when you first auditioned, correct me if I'm wrong, it was to perform. And how did you kind of get into the world of directing?
So after I had acted at MSP, I did a one-person show there as well that they had allowed me to put up. The next year, they were like, "Hey, have you ever directed?" And I was like, "Actually, I have," because I had taken directing 1, which is scene study. So that's a directing scene only. And then I took directing 2, where I had to direct a full-on length theatrical play in a semester, mind you. So it's and I had no help. They give you a guidance counselor,
Actors
and
are
that's
diva,
it.
bro. Like.
So I did a play called Anna Christie by Eugene O'Neill, full mount production. So Clara, who was the president, Clara Lisniak, she was the president at the time. She approached me and said, "Hey, would you like to direct this play? It's called Living Out. It's about immigrants." And I'm like, "Oh, all right, cool. Yeah, my parents were immigrants. I know about the Hispanic culture. So mi gente, it's great.
Yeah,
fucking
bro.
amazing." So then I read the play, and I realized pretty quickly, I'm like, this play is not about immigrants. This play is about moms and motherhood, because it's a play about these 2 moms. One's the immigrant mom, one's the American mom, and sort of like the relationship that they have and the friendship that they form as the immigrant becomes the nanny to the white lady, and yada yada. The story goes on. It's a very heartwarming play. Kind of got a sad ending, but it's funny. And man, I directing's always just been my thing. I always liked kind of being the one in charge and having the vision for the totality of the play, and you don't just focus on like, oh, my character. You got to really focus on the whole picture, because you're leading everybody. You're leading the actors, you're leading the designers, the production people, and all that stuff, and everybody comes to you for the answers. So even when you don't know them, you got to pretend to know them.
Oh yeah.
So. But we did really well. Living Out was a huge financial success. It won the theater an award from the Miami New Times for Best Theater and Best Supporting Actress that Clara Lisniak actually played. Shout out to Clara.
Big shout out.
So after that, they let me direct another play in 2013, and then I took some time away from the theater, and in 2016 I joined the board. 2015, 2016. That's when I joined the board.
Right. How do you find that fine line between when directing? giving someone instruction or, hey, look at it from this perspective, and micromanaging and legit acting for them, going in front, in their spot as how you would do it, and hey, do this.
Yeah, how do you not line read?
Right.
Well, look, I mean, I have worked with people that no matter how well you craft the note, they don't get it, and you gotta kind of tell them, hey, say it like this.
Right.
But the easiest way that I explain it to people, it's like Inception. So if you ever seen that movie, they talk about in that movie that you can't give someone an idea because they're always going to know that you gave it to them. So you got to present it to them in a way that they think that they came up with it. Right. You know what I mean? So you got to craft your notes in a way and communicate what you want in a way so that the actor sort of instinctively finds it, but only finds it because you guided them there. You kind of helped them there. So I try to just, sort of dance around what I want, but, sort of like, hey, come on, try it like this, or don't be so aggressive, or, just one that like sort of pops into my head. Anything physical, you can tell them, hey, at this moment, just like take a bow and see how that makes you feel. Or at this moment, walk across the stage. Or I gave one actor, she couldn't figure out, well, why is this cross feeling so unmotivated? It's like, stop dragging your feet. Like if you want to go somewhere, you don't shuffle your feet. You pick up your feet and you move, So yeah, it's just a fine line. Like actors want to find those moments. They want directors to guide them, but they don't want directors to force feed them. And it's really about guiding them.
Do you give them a lot of space to play?
Yeah, I mean, as much space as the stage allows.
No, but I'm saying as far as space in the sense of like creativity.
Dude, I don't tell an actor. I let the actors do what they want, and then from what they give me, I mold it into something that I think is good. You know what I mean? So I don't really come in with like a preconceived notion of what a character is going to sound like or look like. That it's on the actor to bring that to life. So my job is to take the effort that you're giving it and to craft it into something great. Well, I mean, sometimes you don't have to do anything. Sometimes fucking actors come in and they're outstanding. Yeah. And you just kind of just stand there and get out of the way and just give them little tweaks here and there. But I've worked with some people that like, dude, just shut up and get out of their way. You do not need to really get in there and direct them. They're just natural talents.
Is that refreshing for you?
Yeah, because I don't have to do as much. Yeah. And it's funny, like, I got cast a lot in when I was in college because I was a straight male and I was pretty good. I'm not going to sit here and say I was the best, but I know that people cast me, especially I had one director. I know he cast me multiple times because he didn't have to worry about me. He knew I was always going to bring my best effort and I was going to do my best, and he could just give me minimal notes and he'd go on to the other people that he wanted to pay more attention to.
Damn. You kind of brushed over something pretty big, in my opinion, about doing a one-man show, which is fucking insane. What is that? A 45-minute monologue? How does that even work? How do tell us about a one-man show and what that entails?
So, like I said earlier, I graduated from FIU in 2011, and as part of the BFA program there for acting, you have to do a one-person show. You got to write it, you got to direct it, design it, the whole nine.
It's 2021. I said one person, not one man. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Yeah. OPS. Really, honestly, that's what we call them, OPSs. At FIU, they're called senior projects. At New World, they're called OPSs, one person show, one man show, one woman show, whatever you want to call it. And yeah, I mean, I did Charlie Luciano's show. I did The Famous Gangster, and I sort of modeled my whole senior project off the movie Goodfellas from a structural standpoint, in that you had moments moments where you hear narration and you would hear Henry and you would hear Karen sort of narrate the story, and then intermittent you'd have the scenes. And that's sort of how I modeled from a script standpoint, from a writing standpoint. That's how I modeled my show. I'd have one scene was a descriptive monologue talking directly to the audience about my life, and then boom, it would cut to a scene of just me acting with like an imaginary character. And that's how I went through the entire life story. But everybody does it differently. Other people do straight scenes where they just act with the invisible person, or some people just do straight monologues. Some people had song and dance, and it really depends on the person that you do. But at the time, it was like a 25 minute proposition. Because I'm just exagerado, I stretched it out to like 40 minutes when I was in college, and when I got to do it at MSP, I took it to like an hour 10.
Y'all about to watch the entire feature film, bro. I'll tell you that. I'm playing every character.
Hour 10, basically.
That's fucking awesome.
But now it's a little different. We actually at MSP, we just did last December. Well, this December that just passed, we did 3 one-person shows with 3 seniors who didn't get the opportunity to do it over the summer because of COVID. So we did Che Guevara, Blackbeard the Pirate, and Gary Gygax, the guy who invented Dungeons and Dragons, the game.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
Did he have an? I don't know any. Did he have an interesting life? How was this life?
He actually did. Honestly, like his was probably the most interesting. I mean, look, they were all good. I'm not gonna say that anyone was better than the other because they were all really good.
Yeah,
but,
I mean, the Che's got quotes.
Yeah,
Right.
Che's got
yes,
quotes.
but like everybody knows Blackbeard, everybody knows Che. I'd never heard of Gary Gygax, and I had heard of
You
Dungeons
said
and
the
Dragons.
name, and I was like, no idea who the fuck
Right.
that is.
So, but Dungeons and Dragons, everybody knows.
Everybody, yeah.
And the story really deals with like the kind of the struggles the game went through in the 80s, like everything new, like, you know, heavy metal music or, you know, old R&B, the devil's music. Well, this is the devil's game. And just because a few kids committed suicide in the 80s that were big D&D players, it got a lot of media attention and a lot of like a bad rap that the game was causing kids to kill themselves and yada yada. So he had to deal with a lot of flack. Imagine, I mean, he's just a dork who invented a Dungeons and Dragons
and then
game.
he's like, what the fuck?
Yeah,
Didn't
now
tell
all of a
anybody to
sudden,
kill
like, I
himself."
didn't tell anybody. Exactly, you know? And it's a very, like, interactive game. If you guys, I'd never even played it. But after, you know, seeing the show, I started doing research on it. And it's a very, like, immersive game. You know, people
ever played
really
it?
get into it. No.
That's crazy. I didn't know he had an interesting. I'm gonna look into that. It's funny you said that about that because my grandmother used to yell at my uncle. He's 8 years older than me, so he would play Dungeons and Dragons when he was a kid, probably mid 90s, somewhere in there. And my grandmother would get really mad because she's very, you know, immigrant Catholic, and she would walk in and see them playing with like little fichitas that they would draw up or whatever, and she's like, "What the fuck are you guys conjuring? You know, what kind of
Start counting los rosarios.
Dude,
Yeah.
no, but she would legit kick them out, and then of course he would run away and to go play D&D with his friends. And she's like, "Oh my god!" I remember her.
What
calling,
a rebel.
She would call my aunt or my father and be like, "Your brother's out here doing satanic rituals, and I don't know what to do." So they're on the phone like, "What the fuck is he doing?" They come back and he's playing a board game.
Yeah,
like,
I mean,
wait, calm down a little bit, you know.
to the
Satanic
untrained
rituals.
eye, it's like a very satanic game, but it's just like monsters. It's like very Lord of the Rings. It's high fantasy, you know.
That's all it is. Like
yeah.
World
It's
of-
Yu-Gi-Oh from
World
the
of
90s,
Warcraft.
bro. Like,
It's World of Warcraft without the video game.
It
Right.
literally is World of Warcraft, but like on a board game.
Yeah,
On a board game, and you make up the
totally
story.
See Juan dressed up in
Going
one of
deep?
those. Yeah.
I would go deep. I would dress up. I would get the wand.
you're gonna
I'd be a
do-
damn
you're
wizard.
gonna- you're
Level
gonna
9
tell me-
wizard. Yeah, I
So-
would go in.
Funny enough, there's this like huge game. You can look it up. There's a huge D&D clan like of celebrities that is hosted
shit.
by Joseph Magliano, the guy who's married
yeah,
to
yeah.
the Sofia Vergara.
Yeah.
And him,
Really?
Tom Morello, The Big Show, Vince Vaughn, the creators of
They all play
the
D&D together?
creators, at Magliano's house. And like, you think this setup is dope? Yo, just Google it.
Bro.
Google Magliano's
That's
D&D
wild.
crew. Yeah, it's wild.
Bro, they make some like $10,000 D&D tables.
Oh yeah.
It's crazy.
Well,
It's
no,
crazy.
this guy's he's got like a layer, like with like characters on the wall.
That's
like
fucking
it's a
wild,
fucking
dude.
D&D layer
I
that
played a couple times with
You
Eli.
know,
Not
yeah.
my cup of tea. Like I have to get railed because
Yeah,
I lose focus
Yeah.
quickly. So I mean, this shit goes on for 8 hours, bro.
yeah.
shit.
No,
So-
it's a whole day.
Yeah, dude.
It's
At
a
2
whole to-do.
hours, I'm already like,
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I can't.
can we
do that.
cross the fucking ravine yet? Like what's going on? So I'm getting railed on the side.
I will say the dice look fucking cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, the dice are
What I
Yeah.
never understood is how like what's like so they give you a story.
No, well, yes. So there's a dude that writes a story for you, but you pick who you want to be. You write yourself. You pick whatever race you want to be, however tall you
But
want
you
to be.
have to be
everything.
in it. Like when you speak,
Yeah.
you speak
Yeah.
as the
Well,
wizard.
you are that
know,
guy.
like,
You're
You
a
are the-
wizard, Harry.
all right.
And on that
No,
note,
yeah, you really get into it. You really get into it. And you know, it's iconic, so.
Oh, it's
that's
definitely
very cool.
iconic.
But that's crazy. So they didn't get to perform these seniors. They didn't get
No.
to put their performance on. Not even like recorded.
So a
in
few
Facebook
of them,
Live or
a few
something?
of them did get to do a recorded version of it, and FIU did put it up on YouTube, but it's not the same.
It's not the
It's
same.
not the same.
I mean,
I mean, it's something, you know.
look,
but it's
at
not
the end of the
same.
day, like we did this for two reasons. Number one was to give those kids the opportunity to do it in front of their parents and in front of their friends. You
Right.
know, like seeing the faces
No,
on
absolutely,
the kids
absolutely.
with the
They put
parents.
so much effort into it.
Yeah, and then it was definitely an opportunity for MSP to see what doing a show during COVID was going to be looking like.
Yeah,
you know
test
what I
drive.
mean?
Well,
To
what
a
did
little,
it look
a little
like?
dry run. kind of awkward. Why? You know? No, because look, normally we open the house, we open the theater like an hour 15 before. People can come in, they can linger and order concessions and hang out and chit chat and all that stuff.
That's not a thing anymore.
That's not a thing anymore. So
no concessions either?
No, we cleared the whole lobby out. So in the lobby, there's nowhere to sit. We got little tables and couches, dude. We turn the couches around. I put all the chairs in the back.
It's a beautiful theater, by the way.
Yeah.
You guys, please, you got to check it out. You see pictures on the screen.
Yeah.
Absolutely beautiful theater, inside and out, the location, everything beautiful.
So this time we didn't open the theater till 15 minutes before curtain. So people only had 15 minutes to get in there, find their seat. Because then normally we seat 66 tight, like sardines in there.
Mm-hmm.
This time we had 10. So the seats were spaced out 6 feet apart. I measured them myself. People get in, they sit. And I told the actor before the show, I said, hey, look, I'm going to give you like maybe 10, 15 minutes to take pictures, commiserate with the family, but then you got to go. I can't have people lingering around too much. You got to hit the bricks.
Yeah, because then masks start coming on.
The road, Jack.
Exactly. So, yeah, I mean, that was the biggest thing. The biggest thing was like, you can't make people feel that welcome, because it's like, hey, you got to go. Come in, you see the show, and then you go. You got protocols, but temp checks. Obviously we're not rude to people. We still want them to, have a good time when they're in our theater. But
so you guys.
Yeah. We had temperature checks too. We were all masked up. We had temp checks, and we had a guest list. I had all the actors tell me like first and last name of the people that were coming, so that we can take their temperature and verify that it was them. And I mean, at this point, we're just desperate to get back. We just really want to get back, and we really want to do something. So,
man, but 10 people, that's wild. That's wild.
Yeah.
So, I'm assuming you're gonna go a little bit more, right? When you guys are
perhaps when we open, we still haven't decided on a final number, but it's gonna be somewhere around there, man. Right? It's not gonna be a lot.
Were they one-person shows as well?
Yes, they were all one-person shows.
So there were no issues as far as dressing rooms or anything?
No, and one show, one night. So even though the shows were only like, the longest show is 17 minutes, the shortest show is like 12. So they were quick, we were quick. But it's like I told the board, I was like, I don't want to have multiple shows, because then I got to get another group of people in, another group of people out. Yeah, and after, after we would close, I'd disinfect all the chairs, and clean up and disinfect as best we could.
Yeah, that's some of the things people don't see behind the scenes,
Yeah. Getting ready for the next one.
Oh, yeah. The work that you have to put in on top of the work that you originally had, to prepare. What would it look like if you do put on a show as far as like dressing rooms? Did you or will you have people get tested before auditioning? How would auditionings run?
Those are all questions that still have to be determined. I'm certain that we're going to have some kind of testing protocol. I can't say how many times, how often it'll be. I mean, I heard that they test a lot at Miami New Drama, almost every other day. I don't know shit. Even at my job, we're not testing people every other day.
Intense, yeah.
But we'll test, however we can test,
I had an audition at, Island City Stage.
Okay.
Island City Stage. And I mean, this was this past year, a couple months ago. So I'm assuming that they're planning to start putting on performances, obviously with everything.
Or at least be ready.
Everything, right?
At least be
ready.
And
I mean, excuse me, you had to wait in your vehicle until they texted you that, hey, it's your audition slot. You had to go in with the mask until you get to the point that you're actually on stage. That's when you take off your mask, and then that's when you audition, and then you go out. Obviously, this whole and it's always kind of been a thing as far as like, do you shake the director's hand, because some directors are germaphobes and they've seen 500 people that day, so they don't want to shake hands. It's this kind of like unspoken thing that they always speak about.
Yeah, but now definitely not.
Yeah.
Now definitely.
Well, I think auditioning, is completely going to change. Like auditioning, if you think about it, at a small theater like MSP, we'd still have 30, 40 people come through an audition. And then the next day you have the callback. And then in the callback, everyone's basically kind of there at the same time, more or less. And, yeah, I don't know how MSP is going to conduct their auditions. Obviously, it's going to depend on the director, who directs the show, how they want to conduct it. Me personally, I'll probably be reaching out to actors more directly and, working out more like a job interview than an audition. Because, I mean, a lot of, the good thing about South Florida is that you pretty much know everybody.
Right.
It's a very small community. I don't need to see somebody come in and audition. I know who you are, and I know I've seen you in things. So it's just a matter of casting the show in a way that mitigates the risk for the theater. You know what I mean? And that's how we're going to conduct auditions this year, most likely.
What are your thoughts on these Zoom auditions?
I don't have a problem with that, as long as I don't have to do a play on Zoom. You know what I mean? I don't mind people auditioning on Zoom at all.
A paper act 2.
Yeah, as long as the play is not on Zoom, because we did do a Zoom reading over the summer and it was good. It was finally nice to work again. The reading was in like July, so we hadn't done anything since February. I personally hadn't done anything since the summer before, so it was great just to be able to do something on Zoom. But after you do it once, you're like, okay, that wasn't that great. It was all right, but we need to get back to doing what we really do.
Nothing like being in person,
right? Which is live.
That's
theater,
why I'm asking. Yeah.
Well, how do you see, pre-pandy? How did you feel about theater productions being recorded? It's normally done for big Broadway shows, Hamilton, et cetera, et cetera. I know Hamilton released their recording a couple months ago.
That's right, on Disney Plus.
It's kind of like viewed down upon, almost. What
I
are
mean,
your 2 cents?
in my experience, it's never translated well, but that's probably because most theaters just like put a camera in the back, hit record, and let it ride, and that's
there's
it.
no
And that's
production value.
that's not what Hamilton did.
Pop that bad boy on a tripod and call it a day.
Yeah, and when you do that, it doesn't translate well at all. I don't know how MSP is going to do it yet. Those are still decisions that we have to make now coming up in the next few weeks and months. But we definitely, if we are going to put it online, we're definitely going to put more effort into it than just putting the camera in the back of the house, hitting
Especially
record
when
and
you
letting it
have
ride.
that much less people in your space, you have the room to manipulate a little more.
And it doesn't translate. You don't get the same sound quality that you get in real life. You don't get the same video quality. I mean, a lot of times, like I said, the camera's all the way in the back of the house, so it's not even up close to where you can see the actors doing their thing.
There's something to be said about the feeling that you get when you're there.
I mean, no. I mean, no film will be able to replicate what you get in live theater. But we'll do our best, and we'll see how it goes.
Do you foresee definitely? Do you foresee yourself more so playing an artistic director role in the near future, or do you see yourself going back up on stage as well?
No, I probably won't be on stage for a while.
No?
Nah, I mean, acting is fun and acting is great. And if somebody offered me a role, yeah, I would take it. But I'm not like actively auditioning for anything. I'm not actively searching for anything. I mean, my main focus is MSP. I'll definitely be directing one of the shows that we do this year, like I do every year, and just focusing on keeping the theater going and keeping the mission alive. So
Definitely.
No, I won't be on stage anytime soon.
Got you. Because this man right here killed it when we acted alongside. I was playing Cletus T. Fullinoy.
Yeah.
That's a mouthful.
Oh yeah, it was.
Oh, this guy was a trip, bro. This guy was a trip,
dude.
As far as like the difference between, obviously there's big differences between acting and directing. On a personally, which one do you prefer doing?
Directing.
How come?
Because you get to be in charge. Yeah, because the actor, at the end of the day, the actor is just the actor. They're only responsible for themselves. Like, they don't, unless you're the lead, you're not going to make or break the play. Like the lead or the leads, depending on the play, definitely carry the play for sure. Right. But like most of the time, you're not the lead. You're just a supporting character or something like that.
Tree number 4, baby.
Or whatever. You come in, you do your scene, you're in, you're out, whatever. But the director is carrying the weight, and this. Before the show opens, the director is the king, man or the queen, whatever. The director is in charge. Once the show opens, the director takes a step back, the stage manager takes over, and the actors, really, it's their time to shine. But during the rehearsal process and the whole creative process that goes before the opening, no, the director's in charge. The director's in charge. And it's really their vision that is the show. So,
as the director, has your opinion or your views towards reviews changed or altered whatsoever
No.
as far as when you were an actor? Or
No,
acting?
I never really cared much for reviews. I never really paid attention to them. I mean, obviously you read them, you know, because you're morbidly curious, even when they're bad, you know, like
That
you know?
ego, boy.
Yeah, dude, like you're morbidly curious. Like when you get trash and they're like, "Yo, you suck." Like honestly, yeah, we got trashed.
Oh, yeah,
in
we
Lone
did.
Star.
I was like, yeah,
We
yeah.
got trashed. Like,
yeah.
I mean, when we linked up at the United, I did some Google searches on Lone Star and I read some of those bad reviews and I was like, damn, they trashed us. So even then you read them, but you know, I don't, you know, look, I'm the type of person that like, I don't let other people or anyone outside affect my own emotional well-being. So I'm not going to get too high. I'm not going to get too low. Like your nasty words that you say I suck and that I'm a one-trick pony, whatever. Hey, that's fine, bro. I'm up on the stage. You're down there writing. You know, what are you
Yeah.
do? If you knew anything, you'd be doing it, but you
Right.
don't. You know?
Exactly.
facts, that's facts.
Exactly. That's
So-
always what I've thought about reviewers. Obviously, not all of them, right? I'm generalizing, but majority of them, I feel like they wanted to, but they couldn't, so they're down there.
Yeah. And you know, they just have a job to do. So I don't, you know, they get paid for an
sells.
opinion and sometimes they don't like it, you know, like the last play that I directed, we got a bad review and it was this old white guy and the show was like a bunch of young chicks.
Is it the same
And
old white
I
guy as
told,
always?
I'm not going to say which old white guy it was. It was just an old white guy. And I remember going backstage, you know, after the review came out and telling the girls, I was like, honestly, girls, this show wasn't for that audience person. You know, if it was a younger female, it would have probably been a glowing review. But since it was an old crusty white man that did not understand at all what we were trying to do or the message we were trying to convey and how we were trying to convey it, it just went over his head. And so he gave it a nasty review. Whatever, who cares, you know?
Do you immediately assume that the actors or actresses or whatever have read the review?
No, they had kind of like brought it up to me, you know.
Gotcha.
I wasn't even going to talk about it. They're the ones that kind of like, "Oh, did you read the review? Did you read the review?" And I was like, yeah, of course I read the review. Duh. Like, I'm fucking waiting like patiently to get it in my inbox because, you know, we usually get like a little, like an advanced, I'm not gonna say an advanced copy of it, but they give us a heads up, you know, before it comes out and we look at
Just
it
in case you
before.
want to know, I'm shitting on you tomorrow.
You know, yeah, so.
Do they do that even if it's
That's
a bad
aggressive.
review?
Yeah. They usually let you know what's coming before. So you're not blindsided by it, so. But,
There's I guess, some sort of class in there.
yeah.
Yeah, well, it lets you prepare for sure.
Yeah. So, but you know, you can't let that get to you, man. You know, you
100%.
don't do the show for reviews. You do it because you love it. You do it for the community. And as long as people, when they leave the space, are like, "Wow, I love that show. It was so much fun," or "Wow, I'm crying because I was so emotionally invested." That's all that really matters.
You speak about the message that you were trying to put out with your production, and that being what really matters. What are some, I guess, like 3 shows or, you know, whatever the case, that you can think back to that you were an audience member and they really left an imprint on you?
Wow, as an audience member, oof, that's not going to be a very good answer. Honestly, I'll be honest with you. I'm pretty terrible when it comes to going to see plays. I really don't. I much prefer the process of putting them up and being a part of them than to actually sitting down for 2 hours and watching them. That's a terrible thing for an artistic director to say. And I swear to God, 2020 was going to be a year that I went out and saw more plays. And then fucking pandemic happened, so that goes sort of to the wayside.
There's a UFC fighter, Bruce Leroy. He doesn't watch fights.
Yeah,
Same thing.
you know. So this was really going to be the year that I made the effort to get out there more, to be more representative of Main Street, because this was going to be my first year, full year as the artistic director, because the old AD stepped down in the beginning of either the beginning of 2018. Yeah, I think it was like the beginning of 2019, excuse me. And so 2020 was the first season that I picked all the shows. You know, it was my season, like it was my baby, and I was going to get out there more to promote and get it out, you know, and then everything went to shit. But, you know, for what it's worth, I saw Glenn Ross in London in 2017. Christian Slater played Ricky Roma.
Wow.
And then a bunch of other British guys. And that was so awesome because I had directed Glengarry at Main Street in 2013. So to go 4 years later and see it at the West End in London, you know, the historic West End, like their Broadway basically, that was dope. That was dope.
I mean, I can inspire anybody. Man.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah.
What do you foresee, Pandy aside, is some of the biggest hurdles an artistic director or a new theater company goes through when opening up?
Man, you know, I would tell you most companies what they're going to struggle with is finding a space. MSP is very, very, very lucky that we have the space that we do.
Man, phenomenal location.
And I know other theater companies that, bounce from space to space. I mean, Alliance was one of them. They sort of bounced around. And there's other companies out there that bounce around space to space. But the companies that last are usually the ones that are lucky enough to latch onto a good space. I mean, the reason Gable Stage has lasted so long is not just because Joe Adler was a great AD, but they were very lucky in that Biltmore little theater they got. You know what I mean?
They really were. Also, Actors Playhouse.
Yeah, they're very lucky that they're in a beautiful performance space. I mean, Zoetic is another one. Zoetic, they do great work. There's no doubt about it. But if Zoetic had to deal with space issues, man, that's nothing can sink a theater quicker than not having a permanent home.
What is for the listeners who are not very well versed in the details of it? What's the difference between an equity house and a non-equity house?
Those are just union houses, so they have to hire union actors, the Actors Equity Union. So they got to follow their own set of rules. We're not an equity house, so we can't afford to hire equity actors. But Actors Playhouse they get actors who are union down here. They bring people down from New York. So there's a few equity houses. It's getting bigger with equity here in South Florida. It's not as big as like in New York, where most of all the Broadway and all the off-Broadways now are basically all equity houses. Like if you're working non-equity in New York, you're probably like off-Broadway or, in a cafe or in a diner doing something like that, or in a real small black box.
Would those be Yahtzees?
I'm sorry?
Would that union be the Yahtzee union?
No, that's actually
Theater
for the techies.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
So that's actually the people that are working the lights, the spotlights,
Yeah, they
the
have their
curtains.
Okay.
That's Yahtzee. But for actors, I believe it's AA, right?
Yeah, the Actors Equity Association.
Actors Equity
Yeah.
Association. From the perspective of an artistic director, be it that you're at an audition or not, can you tell just off of someone's performance if they're equity or not? Is the difference between?
No, not really. Honestly, getting equity is just about being persistent, continuing to get equity points and be in equity shows, because equity houses can hire non-equity actors and give them equity points. That way people build up their points so that they can eventually get their equity card. But no, it's just a matter of like, keep your nose to the grindstone, keep hustling, keep getting after it, and eventually you'll accrue enough points that you can get your equity card. So
What is it that you're looking for when you go to an audition, when you're looking for new talent? Or people that either you've worked with before or haven't worked with before? What is it that's something that you're looking for when you go to an audition?
Oh man, definitely can they take notes? That's when I do callbacks, I tell everybody that, like, the thing that I'm going to be looking for, the number one thing is how well do you assimilate the note that I gave you? Because you could be a tremendous actor, and if you can't assimilate a note, you're kind of useless to me. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, I'll do my best if your talent is just something that I can't ignore. But dude, if you're an actor on the bubble, of a role, let's say, and it's between you and another person, whoever can assimilate that note and bring it to life, that's the one that's going to get the role. Because during rehearsal, I'm constantly going to be giving you notes. I'm constantly telling you, hey, do this or do that, or that's not working, or try this differently. And if you can't assimilate what I'm telling you, man, that's going to be tough. It's going to make for a long rehearsal process.
So do you know? Right. So if we have an audition today and you give someone a call back, you give them a note for them to work on when they come back for the call?
No, I give it to them right on the spot. Like during an audition, I don't really give notes. During the audition, I let you do your piece. If I liked you, and you have a good resume and, you seem like you're good for the part, then I'll bring you to the callback. And during callbacks, that's usually when I'll separate people into groups, little scene partners or whatever. Or if it's just a monologue, give them their monologue. But that's really when you really sit down with them and you give them notes and you give them little, things to work on. So
how often would you say that, being an artistic director, especially for South Florida, and as you mentioned, it's such a, tight-knit community. Mm-hmm. How often do you find yourself, like you said, just contacting the actors directly because you know their work, as opposed to seeing someone cold, someone new, someone you've never met?
Well, I'll tell you, now it's going to be a lot more direct for sure. But even in the past, like pre-Pandy, let's say, I would still tell people to come and audition. You know what I mean? So even if I knew someone who was perfect for the role, I'd say, hey, look, person X, come on down. You're perfect for the role. You're the clubhouse leader, let's say. But come on down, audition so I can see you. And, But definitely, I'm a big believer in having to come and audition.
What are some, I guess, like big, theater's live. It's right there. It's on the spot. You can't script it. I mean, it's scripted, but you know what I mean. What are some moments that were definitely not scripted, something that happened on stage? A lead was like, I don't know my fucking lines, or they knocked over a bottle.
I dropped lines, definitely, in college. During a Shakespeare play, I dropped my line and I just went, turned away. Somebody had to come and save me. During a play at FIU called Sonia Flew. I was like in the moment in the scene and like I'm arguing with my wife or whatever, and I like punched the table, and I had done it during rehearsal, but like not as hard as that night. I just got into it, and like bah. And as soon as I hit the table, I felt like my pinky knuckle jam like into the rest of my hand, and I was like, oh, like fuck, I think I broke my hand. And I finished the scene, and when I got off stage, I went to my co-star and I was like, hey, just be careful with my right hand for the rest of the night because I think I might have broken it. And
Leo DiCaprio.
After that, I didn't punch the table again.
Yeah,
I didn't punch the table again.
choice.
Yeah, that was the end of the table punch. So
Good grief.
Oh yeah.
Good
So
grief.
yeah, I mean, anything can happen, man. That's like you said, it's live theater. Like, 1 minute you're there, and the next minute, boom, shit hits the fan. You never know.
What are some, I guess, like behind the scenes drama that people wouldn't, we don't have to get too into details and you don't have to say any names, but some drama behind the scenes that, the audience would have never guessed that was going on.
Is Juan a diva? Tell me.
No, Juan's cool as fuck.
Don't lie to me,
no,
bro.
I swear to God.
Don't lie to me, bro.
Juan,
It's okay, the cameras are off. No one's listening.
So Juan was like the third wheel in our little play because it was like me and this other guy, Christian.
Shout out Christian. He's in California.
No,
riding a motorcycle.
he's back.
Oh, he's back?
In South Florida.
You spoke to him?
Yeah.
Fucking ghost.
Yeah.
Shout out Chris.
Yeah. He is a fucking ghost.
Big itch.
Don't even get me started on that guy.
Yeah, bro.
dog.
Fucking ghost.
A ghost.
Speaking
Went
of
to
those
California.
beefs, speaking of those beefs,
Did jujitsu,
Yeah.
rode a motorcycle, and
Ghost
came
to
back.
everybody.
Ghost to everybody.
Everybody.
Yeah. He was
And
he needed to realign himself.
well,
Yeah.
a few months ago, I reached out to him, and he was like, "Oh, I'm in Jacksonville." And then a few weeks ago, I reached out again. I'm like, "Yo, like we gotta chat sometime, whatever." And he's like, "Oh, I'm down in South Florida, so we can kick it soon." I was like, "You motherfucker!"
What a
Yeah,
fucking
dog.
come
Yeah.
pinga, bro.
Yeah. So, anyway, what was it? What was
Yeah,
the
bro.
question?
We got sidetracked by dissing
okay.
Chris, bro.
So backstage shit no one knows about. I won't get into too much detail, and I definitely won't name names, but we had to postpone a show.
Oh shit, so serious.
The show is called Superior Donuts. I will say that. And I'll say what I'm going to say because that is common knowledge. So the show was supposed to happen in September of 2018. Yeah, right? I don't know. The show was supposed to happen in September of 2018. And then an actor had an issue and we had to fire him. And it was a
wow.
very difficult decision. Dennis and I went back and forth quite a lot, but I said, Dennis, for the integrity and the respect of the theater, we have to let this individual go. And we let him go. And mind you, this is a week before the show opened.
Okay, I was about to ask
What?
that. Good
Yeah.
lord.
This happened like on maybe a Wednesday or Thursday, and Tech was that Saturday.
By the way, Tech Week is Hell Week,
Yeah.
in case you don't know.
Tech Week is basically, or Tech Weekend, or Tech, whatever. The date isn't important. It's basically when you come in, the tech people come in, they set the lights, they
And
set the
everybody's in a
sound.
shitty-ass
Everyone's in a
mood.
shitty mood because the actors are mostly just sitting around and waiting, to come on stage, and then they stand there, and the lighting designers set the levels, they focus the lights, they build the cues. Especially at a small theater like MSP that we don't have a separate hang and focus. We do tech with hang and focus all together, sort of rolled into one. Hang and focus is when you actually physically hang the lights from the grid, you focus them onto the stage.
Oh, so it takes even longer.
Yeah. I mean,
doing that while rehearsing.
MSP is very small though. We only have 24 lights set up in the whole theater. So again, they don't move very often. And when we hang and focus, it's maybe just a handful of lights that have to get moved around for specific moments. But at FIU or at a big theater like Gable Stage or Actors Playhouse or even at the Art Center where they have hundreds of units or thousands of units, yeah, they take separate days to hang everything and focus everything. So it was right before Tech. And yeah, we dismissed him, and we had to postpone the show until the following January. And we had to recast. We actually ended up having to recast 3 people because 2 other people were like, "Hey, I'm sorry, I just can't do it in the time frame." You know,
Wow.
We were rehearsing during the holidays. I actually took one of the roles, so I had to act in the play.
Hell yeah.
So yeah, it was crazy. It was crazy.
Shit.
Wow.
I mean, that's a
Yeah.
serious.
That's a
serious
for sure,
club
for
on
sure.
that.
Dude, it's
Yeah, but does that like being that individual that had to get let go? Is that a blemish? Like, is that something that the entire community knows, or is that something you guys keep in house?
You know, I don't know. I'll tell you what. Anybody who ever asked me about this guy, I for sure would tell them. And everybody who did ask, like our patrons, a lot of patrons are like, "Oh, what the hell? What happened?" You know, season ticket holders, donors.
Right.
So you know, we told them the truth. Hey, you know, blah 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 blah, yada yada. That's why we had to let the guy go. But if anybody said, "Hey, heard of this guy?" I'd be like, "Yeah, I have." And he's a fucking jerk off. You know, you know. So
No, but I guess because you know that's very rare for. I've heard of. Actually, let me preface it like this: would you prefer to put on a production with an actor who's trying his all, trying his best, but it's still not to your not up to your standards, or recast, postpone, in order to
Nah.
get
Look,
better reviews
I
or
wouldn't.
whatever?
I wouldn't cancel a show because somebody wasn't up to par. You know, I've worked with some mediocre actors, to put it mildly, and God bless them. They always seem to try their hardest.
Right.
And I've worked with some that had pissy attitudes, and you still don't cancel a show. Canceling the show is literally like the fucking last resort,
yeah,
man.
that doesn't seem like something that's even part of the conversation.
Because so
until
much
it has
money
to
is
be.
lost, I would assume.
Yeah. I mean, luckily, not a lot of money was lost. The publishing company was very lenient with us. We explained to them the situation and as to what happened and the
Right.
decision that was made. And there I spared no details. They got the full story. And they were very cool about the postponement. Luckily, it was only a few weeks. You know, it went from, like I said, late September into October till, boom, first weekend in January, show was opening. Because we had another show coming in February, so we had to
So it
move
had
quickly.
to,
Yeah,
yeah.
had to get in. If it didn't get in right there at the beginning of the year,
out.
it was gonna be a total loss. But luckily, another actor stepped in, and he did a great job. I mean, he learned the lines. He was the main character, dude. He was
What?
the main character.
Fuck.
God.
He had to learn a lot of lines. And he did. He stepped up to the plate. He learned his lines. He did a good job, and he made it happen. And without him, the play wouldn't have happened.
Wow. Ladies and gentlemen, you know what I'm talking about. Every single week we have two segments. You know what I'm talking about. And one of which, what is it? What is it, Diego? There you go. Ladies and gentlemen, it's the movie review of the week. You know what I'm talking about. And every single week we ask our guests, you know, a film, a TV show, some sort of visual media that they've been watching recently that, you know, just gets them feeling whole, gets them feeling right, gets them feeling good. You know what I'm talking about? Danny, what is something that during this pandy you've been, you know, watching, some sort of TV show, movie, whatever it may be that has gotten you right?
Well, during the whole pandemic, I watched the whole MCU catalog. I was never really a
shit.
big MCU
Gang
guy.
shit.
Gang shit,
Yeah,
gang
I was
shit.
never a big
How was that
MCU.
ending?
Bro, I loved it.
It was awesome,
I thought
right?
it was great. Thanos was my favorite character.
Man,
I
but
mean,
that's a
Josh
lot of
Brolin.
movies.
That's
So
a
you
lot
saw
of
the whole-
movies.
It took me like
That's a lot of money.
3 weeks, three and a half
you got-
weeks.
Respect,
around there.
though. That's
That's
like
what
I
made
mean,
it.
in order from
Yeah,
when
yeah,
they,
yeah,
which
yeah,
they
yeah.
released it?
Yeah, no, like
or
their
in
actual-
or in Marvel universe.
Yeah, in chronological order is
That's
the word you're
tough,
looking for.
dude.
Yeah.
That's tough.
I mean,
That's a lot of
honestly,
movies.
shout out to Disney Plus. They make it very easy. The
Yes.
movies are already laid out there in chronological order.
yeah.
But yeah, it took me like close to a month, starting with Captain America: First Avenger, going
You're
all the way
goddamn
through
right,
to
baby.
Yo, I'm getting goosebumps.
Going all the
You're
way
talking
through to
about it, I'm getting
Endgame.
goosebumps.
How many
Yeah.
stars would you give it out of 5 stars?
the totality, like the whole
the series.
MCU. No, the whole MCU. You got to go 5 stars. I mean,
Yeah.
you got to go 5 stars. Just on like the vision to have, to start to make Iron Man, and then not even a few movies later, you're like, all right, we have something massive on our hands here. You know what I mean? Because obviously when they made Iron Man, they couldn't have foreseen.
No way.
It's baffling to me.
Yeah.
Sometimes I think about it sometimes, and I'm just like, how do you it's. Bro, I was like 11 years old when I first, 12 years old when I first saw Iron Man.
Yeah. I mean, it came out in 08.
Every other year, a superhero movie would come out, and you would watch it, but who the fuck watches Hulk?
Whoa.
No. There's certain superheroes that don't catch the attention as of Iron Man.
Maybe.
But that's what I'm saying.
Man.
No, but I went to go watch it just for the little clip at the end. Most of the time.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, that's
guys
the
didn't let
one
me
thing
finish.
is that it's a television show that is a movie. You know what I mean?
Right.
Because it's
Right.
20-something episodes,
Yeah.
and they all sort of tie together, and there's little running gags that go
Right.
throughout them, and there's continuity, like you said.
Ant-Man and the Wasp.
Yeah.
You're gonna tell me
hilarious.
But those
Hilarious,
Ant-Man movies
great.
are fucking hilarious.
They are.
They're hilarious, but
You know what?
Ant-Man,
I think
Ant-Man
that's
and the Wasp had a pivotal.
Yeah, it did.
Yes.
Yeah, it did.
Yeah.
It did.
Well,
I
when
think-
Ant-Man gets stuck in the quantum realm at the
If it wasn't
end,
for
yeah.
him, they
Yeah.
wouldn't be able to, time
I
travel.
think that was
Yeah.
the biggest gamble that they made that paid off. The Ant-Man little series that they threw in there in the mix.
Well, I think honestly, by the time they got to Ant-Man, they knew they couldn't do wrong.
Right.
Like by
I
the
feel
time,
they're-
by the time they got to
Paul-
Ant-Man,
I
They were
wasn't sure
rolling.
Paul
They
Rudd
were
was going to be
rolling.
able to carry
they were
it.
rolling.
They were
But
rolling.
Paul
They
Rudd,
were
dude,
rolling.
Paul Rudd is a great.
He's
actor.
a great actor.
Okay.
Yeah,
My
Paul
Idiot
Rudd.
Brother
This
is
is
an amazing flick.
leading man.
Even the one that everybody hates, which is
Captain Marvel.
no, yeah, that one.
Mm-hmm.
How do you feel about that one?
I mean, I thought it was all right.
enjoyed
I
it.
didn't hate Captain Marvel.
enjoyed it.
I wish that they maybe would have done more with the Captain Marvel character in the Avengers.
Correct. They fucked that
Especially
one
in
up.
the last movie where you thought Captain Marvel was going to be the one to help him beat Thanos in the end, but hey, it was going to be either Iron Man or Captain America.
It
wasn't-
had to be.
They weren't going to take away from Tony and from Captain America, dude.
Yeah.
What's your favorite out of the entire universe?
What was your favorite superhero?
No, favorite movie.
Ooh. That's
Mine,
a tough one.
mine is so easy.
All right, what's
So
yours?
easy. Guardians.
The first one?
Yeah.
Great soundtrack.
I would
Not
say-
my
Phenomenal
favorite, though.
soundtrack.
I would say
Phenomenal.
it's between Infinity War and Ragnarok.
Oh wow.
Ragnarok is hilarious and it's funny and great.
The
But
colors
Infinity
awesome.
War is just like, holy shit, man! Everybody's in it. It's all over
That
the
was
place.
so
It
good.
puts
That
everyone
really was so
together.
good.
And it's not as long as Endgame. Endgame kind of drags a little bit, coming in at
Especially-
friggin'
yeah.
3 hours.
Oh my god.
And you can feel
but
the 3 hours at certain
yeah,
points.
but in Endgame or Infinity War is just great, man. The way it ends,
Yeah, that's
with
good.
Thanos winning, and you're just like, how the fuck are they gonna unfuck this one? Like, what are they gonna do? How are they gonna fix
they
this?
gonna
They
unfuck
fucked
this?
this so bad. They fucked this up
That's a
so
good
bad.
series, man. That's a really good.
But yeah, I was like, dude, there was in the time where there was no sports on, football.
nothing
There
to
was
do.
nothing. Yeah, like basketball hadn't started back up
Right.
again. Baseball had been canceled. So I'm
think
like,
the only
dude,
one
there's
was, UFC
nothing on.
UFC.
Well, even before UFC didn't start till like May.
there was like a couple months where there
April
was
was
nothing.
like the darkest month, and then the UFC's great. I do love the UFC, but that's Saturday nights.
It is.
I don't get my Tuesday and Thursday TNT NBA fix. I don't get my daily Marlins
Sports guy over
baseball.
here, yo.
Facts, yo. I
suffered.
It
I
really was
suffered. It
aggressive.
was a
And
tough summer.
I'm not a baseball fan, so baseball came in early, and I was like, so fuck
Yeah.
me.
I guess I'm watching the Marlins. Get
I'm
the
Yeah.
baseball.
so I
Yeah.
had to, and I was like,
Yeah.
fuck, I gotta do something,
No,
I mean-
what pissed me off most was the Heat were freaking rolling when the pandemic.
Yeah.
hit.
Nah,
we were-
it came at the right time because we went way further than I thought we were gonna go.
Yeah.
No. We were gonna do that the whole time. Facts.
Nah.
I did not see
Facts.
that, dude.
Nah.
Facts.
Nah.
I said it. I said it.
Yo, the
Watching
pandy fucked a lot of people.
Yeah,
whatever,
dude.
but it definitely helped the
Yo,
Heat, bro.
It helped the Heat
Definitely
big time.
helped
I mean,
the
if you
Heat,
if you just think about what a second round playoff series would have looked like in Milwaukee, You know, those Milwaukee fans,
Dude,
rabid.
having no home team advantage
it was huge for the Heat.
us.
It was huge for the Heat.
100%.
It was huge. I mean, you just think about the makeup of who we are, these like tough, scrappy gym rats that don't need a big crowded arena. Jimmy Butler will get into a fight with you anytime. Like, you know, like Bam is like this scrappy, undersized big man, and even Hero bringing
Jimmy
his own.
Buckets.
Yeah, like we definitely, we took advantage of the bubble for sure.
Plus
there was
the
just
fact
no beating
Hero-
LeBron.
Hero, I think Hero would have caved under that pressure, going that deep with that home field scream in your face. He's so young, dude.
I mean, dude, let's be honest. One game he would play like a star. The next game he would disappear.
Scrub
The
out.
next game he'd play like a star. The next game he'd disappear. And that's what you expect from a young kid.
It was that chick sliding in his DMs, bro.
Yeah.
I saw that.
But
Though, you know what though?
Katia.
Katia Henry,
Katia.
baby.
yeah.
He knows by the name.
I do. I follow him
But
on
I would say
Instagram.
the best TV show, because I know you asked about TV shows and we talked movies a little bit. The best TV show I saw, I think, all year was definitely The Last Dance. The Michael
great.
Jordan 10-part documentary.
That was really
was
good.
amazing, bro.
That was
That
really
was
good.
For some
I
reason,
got
I
the
don't know what.
ESPN membership just
Yeah.
to watch that
Yeah.
damn documentary.
Bro, I'll send you a free link.
I mean, I have cable, so I recorded all of them when they happen, and I watched them live on every Sunday night. Man, that was fucking. That was
fucked it
like
up,
bro.
appointment television, bro.
I didn't watch
Appointment
it.
right there.
I didn't
Like-
watch it until Netflix dropped them.
Okay.
you
Well,
slacking,
honestly,
you
I'm old
missed out.
school. I like episodic television. I
Right.
enjoy taking a week to like marinate on what I just watched, and
I can get behind that.
And- and
as long
like-
as there's no commercials, I can get behind
Yeah,
it. The
and-
problem was I wasn't talking to anybody that was like, dude, the show was the
Right.
shit. Because when we started really hanging out again, the show was already pretty much over.
It was
Yeah.
already it was
Yeah.
over.
yeah,
It was
it
over.
premiered in April. But it was so good, man. Like those stories
really was
about
good.
Jordan.
And I took that
Oh, my-
personally.
So good. They're so good.
Rodman. I have
Rodman.
such a
Yo.
respect for Rodman. Just be like, in the middle of the season, I'm taking off for Vegas for a weekend.
bro, I need to get
I'm
some
out.
ass, bro.
I am
I'm
out of
out.
here.
Because that Rodman episode and the what's the other guy's name?
Pippen.
Dude, and the Pippen. Honestly, the Pippen
Yeah.
episode broke my heart.
Yeah. Yeah, the way
He
they
got
treated him.
fucked.
Because
yeah.
he was like a young kid from Alabama and he needed money, you know, and he signed a contract in like his
bullshit
third year,
contract.
fourth year that was like a 7-year deal for like,
He was looking for that security.
8-year, 40 million deal.
yeah, 8-year, $40 million. So like $5 million a year on average. And the thing is that by the time he gets to the 7th year, he's already a perennial all-star. You know, he's a Hall of Famer and it was time to renegotiate.
Best trio, man.
Yeah.
Best trio. And they didn't want to give it to him.
No.
Danny, as clearly someone who's a big fan of sports, how would you say that translates over to theater? There's this like stigma or I guess notion that, you know, if you're a male and you do theater, there's certain stigmas.
Well, I played sports all throughout my youth and all throughout high school. So that's how I grew up. I grew up a jock and I discovered theater in college.
Gang shit.
And it was I found a lot of similarities because you're still like doing something in front of other people.
still part of a team.
Right, you're still part of
Still
like a
performance,
team. You're
yeah.
still it's a different kind of a performance. It's a competitive performance where theater is or television or whatever is a scripted performance. But there's a lot of similarities, and I think you're seeing a lot of athletes. I can tell you that Eddie George. You guys remember Eddie George? He was a running back for the Titans and Ohio State.
right.
So, dude, after he retired, he got into acting, and he played Othello on Broadway.
Wow.
You know, like I'm talking like acting, bro. Like not like I'm in a commercial for a
Yeah, I was
Cadillac.
about to say,
No,
what
no,
show
no.
was he in?
Like, well, he came out in Ballers. He had a couple
shit.
episodes in
Ballers.
Ballers. Another
Great
one
show.
that I know has gotten into acting is Thomas Jones. He was a running back for the Jets for a while, but
Fuck the Jets.
he's
Sorry.
been in a few things, and then obviously everybody knows The Rock.
Yeah.
As the biggest example of
Fucking
like
Dewey, baby.
a crossover. Not that he was a pro athlete, but wrestling is acting and sports put together.
Right.
Wasn't he,
He was a
in the
lineman
league for
in
one
UM.
season?
Yeah, well, he went to UM, and I know he was in the
blew out his
CFL.
knee.
Yeah, I know he was in the CFL. I don't know that he
Everyone-
was in the league, but
Everyone that played in the UM team with him talks so much shit about his athletic acumen. Everyone,
yeah, he
bashes him so
probably was that good.
well, that's what everybody
Yeah, he
says.
probably
They
wasn't that
talk
good.
so much shit. Actually,
But-
they talk about it on the Two Bears One Cave when they interview that dude. He's like, so when he keeps asking, "What do you think about Dewey?" They're talking about The Rock.
Got you.
Yeah, I mean, football is tough, man. Football is a really difficult sport. There's no doubt about it, especially in the trenches. On the defensive line, but look, The Rock's a great athlete. You don't get to be the top. You don't get to be the top of the WWF or the WWE without being a tremendous athlete.
Yeah.
And even as far as like athletics and art, there's a bunch of UFC fighters who their parents got them into ballet just for the movement alone.
That's a great stretch.
I mean, it's phenomenal.
Yeah, I mean, I had a good friend of mine in high school who was on the wrestling team, and I know that like UFC and wrestling, a lot of great wrestlers go on to have careers in the UFC, and I know their thing is always like, it's the same as wrestling, except now I get to punch you in the face. Where in wrestling that's not really allowed. You can't strike in wrestling, but it's a lot of the same techniques. The grappling is very similar, and every good UFC fighter will tell you that you have to have a ground game.
Oh yeah.
You can't be a dominant force in the UFC if you can't go to the mat and win a fight. So,
Danny, what is it like? And have you had the, opportunity to deal with a diva?
Like a diva actor, I guess I've dealt with them. I don't know. I mean, I haven't. I can't really remember. I can't really ever remember a time that, other than the actor that I had to fire, that I had somebody that I really couldn't stand. I mean, yeah, I've been very fortunate that most of the people that I've gotten to work with have been good people. And even the ones that were a little more difficult, I still had enough respect for them that, we could find a mutual understanding as to, what we both wanted. Because that really comes from conflict, and you're only a diva, when you're butting heads. If you're not butting heads and you're getting along, hey, that person's great. Who cares if they're a little egotistical and they're a little full of themselves? But the minute that you come into conflict, then it becomes a problem.
What if it's a week before they don't know their lines?
Oh God. Look, I always tell my actors the same thing. Like being off book, because that's what it's called, being off book. Being off book, that's your responsibility. That's not mine. You're the one that's going to look like an asshole opening night when you don't know your fucking lines.
Right.
Not me. My job's done opening night. Do you want to look like an idiot? No, you don't. And that's usually inspires people to, hey, I got to get my shit together and I better learn my lines.
Pilas.
Exactly. And I tell you, I say that early on because a lot of actors will come to you in the beginning and say, well, what's the off-book deadline? Because a lot of directors will say, hey, you got to know your words by this day. Scripts come down. And I always tell them, hey, that's your process. If you need to have the book in your hand till tech weekend or preview, that's your process.
That doesn't get you.
You're gonna be you're the one that's gonna look like an idiot in front of all your other castmates. So it's one of those things that I want the actors to sort of police themselves by, hey, come on, you're making us look bad.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
At that point, it's a team thing, right?
Yeah.
Like, I'm going to look like an idiot because you don't know what you're saying.
And at the end of the day, like, that's your responsibility as the actor. It's not my job to learn the words, and it's not my job to make you learn the words. You agreed to learn the words when you signed up to do this.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, you're not holding up your end of the bargain. Shame on you.
What is it? What's something that you look for?
That, though.
Yeah, 100%.
If you want to have your book till the end, have your book till the end. Whatever you got to do to get it right, get it right.
But learn them.
I like that.
I will say, though, I would have a little, like, panic attack if it's tech week and I see him with a damn book the same week. I'll be like, fuck, we're cutting it close. We're cutting it close.
Yeah.
I have another question. As far as, I guess, nerves, what were you most nervous about? Your first performance as an actor or your first performance as a director?
That's a good question. I would say
they were both in college.
Yeah. Man, I would say probably as an actor because I had never really done anything like that before. Whereas like when I was directing, I had already had a few years of being in theater under my belt and I was very confident going in. I was like, I knew we had a good show. Even though it was a period piece from 1920 by Eugene O'Neill, very like old school kind of stuff. So I knew we had a good show, but as an actor, I was a very small role in a very large production, and I was pretty nervous. But once you get out there and the lights come on and you feel those stage lights, you get the adrenaline going, and you're rolling, man. You're rolling, and it doesn't matter if there's 25 people or 25,000 people. Like, there's nothing like it.
That moment, that's when I shit myself.
Yeah.
That adrenaline you guys are talking about. It's a lot of adrenaline and a lot of shit.
Yeah, a lot of people are like, how do you do it? The other question I get is, how do you learn all those words? That
to me is more stressful. The word thing to me, I think that's why I have a panic attack.
I don't think I will ever be able to become an actor just for that alone. Like I don't think I have the.
You know, you
the
think
memory.
that, you
The
think
words?
that,
You
but
think
then
that's why you're there.
you think
No, the
that too,
memory,
you
the
do it,
memory.
and it's not the memory. You're gonna practice these words night after night for like 3 or 4 weeks, bro. If they don't stink into your brain, there's something wrong with your brain.
Yeah.
Right.
If you're a
Yeah, 'cause it
normal
becomes your words
functioning
after a while.
human, if dude, I could give you the same 3 paragraphs and make you say them over and over and over and over again, night after night, 3, 4, 5 weeks. You're gonna learn them.
Yeah.
You're gonna learn them. Just naturally.
You're saying there's something wrong with your brain.
Dude, I never had to take, the only time I had to take my script home to practice was for this play that I did in college called Prodigal. And I was like the main guy, and I would have, and you know, single space type, like Microsoft Word length monologues,
Right.
where it's like, it's just me.
Fuck
And there ain't
that.
nobody else on stage. So I got to go home and I got to just start. And bro, what I would do is I would roll fatties and I would sit on my couch.
Oh my god, that seems so much worse.
and I would just sit on my
That's how
couch.
Daniel Day-Lewis did it.
Good.
And I would
Lord.
fucking smoke and I would just say the words and I'd read the words over and over until like, you know, and I'd break it off paragraph until I could close my eyes and repeat the paragraph and
then
you
you
just
move on.
repeat it.
Yeah.
Repetition, man. That's how you learn it. That's how you really learn the words.
It really
Repetition,
is, man.
repetition, repetition. It's not some special skill. It's not photographic memory. It's motherfucking practice.
Right.
Good
Something that would
Lord.
help me, I would get, so if I have a scene with a person, I would be like, hey, you know, let's read the scene. I'll record it. And then when I go to sleep, I'll go to sleep
Yeah.
to the recording to kind of,
Okay. Yeah. So it can work into you.
It's a constant thing.
Yeesh. Yeah, that would work, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's
There's that
definitely,
neuro-linguistic, something like that. Yeah.
I mean,
Right.
everybody's got their process.
Yeah.
Everybody has their own process, you know?
I remember
everybody's-
I used to help my aunt when I was living in Peru. She majored in some dance, like modern dance or some shit like that. And she was, for her senior, right? She put on a play, but there was like dancing and some shit like that. And so everyone that was part of it, because it's for
Right.
school, you had to give your time, right?
Right.
And I was in school and I was like, fuck it, there's hot college girls. I'm super down. And I was a stagehand and you had to dress in all black because it was in a black box. And they wouldn't fully turn the light off because then you can't see shit.
Right.
And I used to shit my pants just walking onto stage silent, no one's talking, to just pick up a box or a chair and move some shit. And I'd be like, yo, if I fuck this up.
Let me tell you,
I dropped the box.
Even
Dude,
even more nervous than acting or directing. The most nerve-wracking job that I ever had in theater was in college. So in college, they give you a lot of like different responsibilities so that you get a feel for everything going on in a production. Well, for one show called The Birds, I was on the fly rail. So I was basically the guy that would pull the lever, yank the rope that would make the walls come in and out.
Okay.
So like
You're
I'm
changing
on a
the-
head,
the
actual like
scenery.
backdrops,
Okay.
dog. If I'm not
It's
on my
bugged.
post,
Bro.
and that wall's there, and like the other wall's got to come in, and actors are coming on, and music is playing, and you're wearing these headsets just like these. The stage managers like fly rail, standby, fly rail 3, go,
just
and you're there, you pull the lever, you're pulling the rope, you're doing the
I
whole
can see
thing.
Diggle fucking up already.
dog. And you're just like,
was
dude, I
stressful,
can't
man.
fuck this up.
That's exactly what I was saying.
Oh, I
It's
could
so
see it.
stressful, dude.
Yeah, bro. Yeah.
Because I remember one time I had to put these Barbies because she was supposed to cut them off. It was very weird.
Abstract theater.
And like I kind of just tossed them
Yeah.
and they fell off.
Yeah.
And I didn't catch it, so I just walked off. And she goes up there and she's like, where the fuck? You could see it in her face. Where the fuck are these dolls?
Yeah.
She starts fumbling. I'm in the back like,
Yeah. Yeah.
because
Tech-
she feels bad, but she's off the cuff.
yeah,
She's
she's
doing her
trying to-
thing.
yeah, she's trying to do it.
And I'm in the back like, oh, this is all on me.
Yep.
There's
And
15 people here, and 7 of them know I fucked it up. You know?
There's nothing you can do. The
no.
actor
Hell
has
no,
to
you
bail
can't
you
walk
out. The
out
actor
there.
has to
Yeah,
bail
yeah,
you
yeah,
out.
yeah.
She
The
was
actor
so nice,
basically
dude.
has to bail you out.
She walked up to me, she's like, oh, don't worry, it happens all the time. And I'm in the back like, fuck. Don't patronize me, bro.
As soon as I fuck up, I'm walking out. I'll be like, none of you guys.
But it's
are
that I
catching
couldn't,
me.
dude. My aunt
Yeah.
was directing it. That was her senior. That was for her to get her MBA.
2 words.
Was that? Nah, bro. I couldn't.
Yeah.
I couldn't.
Nah.
Couldn't.
Yeah. I mean, and actors are for the most part good enough people to understand. Like, yo, people fuck up.
It happens.
Right.
People fuck up.
Oh yeah, she was
know?
she was so nice about it. But it's one of those things where you're like, she fucking hates you. She thinks you're a fucking idiot because
You
you,
blew
fucked
it.
up the Barbies.
You had one fucking job. You had one
Put
job,
the
bro.
Barbies in there, bro. And I
And that's
remember
it.
That's Juan
it was
right
like
there.
4 more shows after that because that was the opening one.
Yeah.
putting.
Oh, you
those
never forgot
Barbies,
again.
dude. I like it was. I guarantee that if they filmed it, it probably looked stupid because it was just like, "You good? You good? Okay, cool. Next one, we good?" And I would usually run maybe an extra 10 seconds over, but it was like, no, everything's gonna be in its fucking place, dude.
No, after that, you never fucked that.
Oh yeah, no.
Danny, what are some, some people say that a major in theater is quote unquote a waste of time because all you can do is teach with it, blah, 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 blah. What do you have to say?
Or be a critic.
There you go. What was your experience at FIU?
I mean, I thoroughly enjoyed it. I mean, the good thing about FIU is they give you a pretty all-encompassing view of what theater is. So I had to take costume design classes. I took scenic design classes. I took lighting, theater history, like dramatic literature courses, So they really gave us a lot of things to learn about theater. But the biggest takeaway, I think, especially with an acting degree, is like what you really learn is like about people. I always tell people, like, if you're going to accurately replicate human behavior on the stage, you have to really understand it. And that's kind of like what acting helps you understand is human behavior. And so people, that's really what the degree is all about. It's a people degree. Sure, it's not going to make you a rich person. But I would say that with what I learned, if I didn't already have a job when I left college, I could have gone to New York and I could have worked as a technician or a stagehand and continued to pursue acting. So I could have gotten any job. I could have done front of house. I could have been an usher, a box office person. Like FIU left me prepared to work in any capacity of the theater that I could have wanted to. So.
Wow.
And look,
that's good.
Theater is a multi-billion-dollar industry. Don't get it twisted. Just because actors are friggin' starving doesn't mean that a lot of people are. Right. Techs make very good money. And I, if I was going to advise a young student, I'd say forget about acting, be a tech. Because techs work a lot, bro. Techs work a lot.
They're fucking project to project.
Yeah, they're project to project to project. And they work calls. They work, a lot. So... theater is a big industry, and it'll be back. It'll be back. It might take some time, but it's gonna come back.
So, absolutely, yeah. But you just gotta find the groove, like you said.
Yeah.
A couple dry runs need to happen.
Yeah.
We'll need to try the outside. We need to try the storefront, the Zoom, whatever.
And we just gotta get past this. We just gotta get past this.
Little by little.
Ladies and gentlemen, every single week we have another one, a second segment of the week, ladies and gentlemen. That's the quest for the truth. You know what I'm talking about? And every single week, what Diego?
He's doing his fucking card gestures over here.
Every single week we have a random question from this here deck that we ask our guests and everybody here as well. And let's see
what we got.
Fate has in store.
In the meantime, we are 42-13, 12 minutes left in the fourth.
The Dolphins are getting crushed, for those that don't know.
What about the Ravens?
Yeah.
The Ravens were fucking murdering, last I saw.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, Danny.
Talk to me.
What's something about you that surprises people when they first hear it?
Yeah. I don't know that I'm like that I'm an actor. Yeah.
Hell yeah.
That I'm an actor. I can tell you that when I was in college, it took 3 semesters for people to realize that I wasn't a tech. When I got to acting 3, they were like, "What? What are you still doing here?" I thought because in FIU, like even the techs had to take acting 1 and 2.
Oh wow. Cool.
Even the techs had to learn how to act. So those first 2 semesters, we were all grouped in and bunched in together, and then acting 3 rolled around, and I'm still there. They're like, "Wait a minute, you're an actor?" And even to this day, like I was telling you guys before we started, I work in elevator manufacturing. That's my day job. So when I tell people that, like, on the side, I'm the artistic director of a theater company and stuff like that, that always surprises them for sure.
Wow. Emmy?
Fuck, I don't know, dude. I'm a pretty open book, so that's a tough one. I don't know. Maybe. I guess it depends. Like in Texas, they were confused that I was from Miami. So
okay.
Yeah, because they think I was just a Mexican guy.
Oh yeah.
That's for sure.
Yeah.
If you leave Florida in any other state, you're a Mexican.
Yeah.
Except probably New York.
But that's probably like the only
anywhere
time.
else, like you can be Mexican.
Oh, you know what? Probably that I did breakdancing when I was in high school.
Oh shit, bro! That still surprises me to this day, bro.
Gang shit.
Gang
go.
shit.
Spartan
Diego.
Breakers, boy. D-nuts. Shout out. B-boy
What
D-nuts.
was the question?
I said, what's something about you that surprises people when they first hear it?
It's tough, dude.
Yeah, it's
I'm
so
a pretty
tough.
open book.
That's what you pretty much what you see is what you get with me. Maybe that I'm artistic.
That you're autistic?
Artistic.
Sorry, I had to, bro. I had to.
I knew there was something wrong with him.
There you go. That's why you can't memorize the lines.
But yeah, the fact that I'm like very artistic. And, like,
That's
I'm,
fair.
I'm like very good with colors and like.
You're very good. I think that's what's more surprising. No, like not even in a joke. Like you're very good.
No, he is.
I've seen your sketchbook. It's very impressive. Yeah.
Actually, if you don't see it, I mean, we've mentioned this before. Diego did the second half of this beautiful mural on
And
the
it
back.
blends
You know what I'm
in.
saying? It
Blends
blends
in
in beautifully.
beautifully.
You never even see where it blends in, and that's Diego. You know what I'm saying? Hit him up.
Gang shit.
Gang
I'm gonna have
shit.
to bring some pictures from him.
Yeah, I gotta see I gotta see a video of you trying to like win me.
Dude,
over
actually, you know what's funny? When you guys were talking about the forgetting the line, we had a performance. Obviously, we did breakdancing, and we didn't have a teacher in school, so we formed a class of breakdancing. And the dance instructor, she was like our teacher, but she didn't know shit. So she walked in the first day and she was like, just do whatever the fuck you guys want. I'll come and check on you guys. But you're going to need to do a couple numbers with my girls. So we had some like not breakdance parts, but she made us do a step one.
Uh-huh.
Dude. And for whatever reason, she chose me to be one of the leads because it was like two basketball teams playing each other. And I'm like front center.
Oh, God.
And when I say that the moment the song started, I forgot everything.
Oh,
Fuck. It's not an exaggeration.
Oof.
Like I was front and center in the stage, and then the shit starts, and I'm like, "What was this shit again?" On the stage, the fucking performance is going on, and my boys are in the back,
Yeah.
cracking the fuck up.
I'm
So
sure
my
you could hear
reaction
their
is
howling from there, from the
hysterical
stage.
laughter.
Yeah.
Because at that point, I'm not nervous. I'm like, "Oh yeah, I'm performing for my friends." I was a big douche in high school too, so I didn't really care. But I remember just standing there like jiving, like, "Yeah, what's up?" And they're all doing the number. There's probably like 40 people on stage doing the number, and I'm just there like, because I was supposed to be in the middle the whole time,
Right.
So I'm just there like,
Oh my god.
and I remember seeing her in the back turn fucking beat red, like, "What the fuck are you?" When I walked off, "What are you doing?" I was like, "I improvised."
Yeah.
Did you want me to walk off?
Yeah.
I know you didn't want me to walk off, bro. That was.
Oh my god.
And I saw that video. When I saw the video, I became so embarrassed to realize what I had done.
How bad you had
was
fucked things
like
up.
legit 3 minutes of just like and like occasionally laughing, like, "Yeah, what's up? Yeah." Dude, it was horrible, bro. Horrible. It was horrible.
God.
Daddy, what's as far as both director and actor, what would be a dream production for you to both direct and a dream role for you to have?
Well, I mean, I got to direct one of my all-time favorite plays in Glengarry. I hope one day I can be in it. I don't know.
Yeah.
Obviously, MSP won't be doing it, but if someone in the community was doing it, that's a show I would definitely go out to audition for sure.
Okay. And then as far as directing, is there any other shows besides that?
Wow, directing. I don't know. It's kind of tough because now that I'm the AD, like if there's something that I like, I can just call
Say it,
up
let's do it.
DPS and
Right,
say, "Hey,
right,
we're
right.
gonna do it." So, I felt really good about the season we were gonna do in 2020. Church and State, the play that I had mentioned to you guys before was one that, like, as soon as I read it, I knew I was like, "Man, we have to do this play." But I guess to direct, I really wish that we could direct Long Day's Journey into Night by Eugene O'Neill, because it's my favorite play. But we'll probably never do it because it's like 3.5 hours long. Yeah, and it's very period. It takes place in like the mid 1930s. And, I read it in high school. It was honestly the first play I ever read, and I was like blown away. It won the Pulitzer Prize for drama after Eugene O'Neill died. Wow. So Eugene O'Neill, for those that don't know, was pretty much the first really great American playwright. Like he was the first playwright that made the Europeans take notice of like, whoa, before Tennessee Williams, before Arthur Miller, there was Eugene O'Neill.
Right.
And this play was basically semi-autobiographical. It didn't come out until after he died because it was so personal to him. He was like, yo, people can't even know this about me and my family. So after he passed away is when his estate published it and made it public to everybody.
Oh, that's very cool.
Yeah. And it's a really great play. But again, it's just one of those plays that like, God, people don't have that kind of attention span anymore. You can't get people to come to a play for 90 minutes.
Yeah, it is weird, huh?
To have somebody commit to 3.5 hours is a lot. It's a lot.
What's the secret sauce? What's the secret sauce to getting people in the seats when it comes to theater?
Wow, plays that are quick, plays that are funny, and if they're not comedies, plays that really like grab you and hold you at attention. When I read a play, I always ask myself, is it flying off the page? Like, are the words literally like smacking me in the face with how good it is that I can't stop turning the pages because I'm like, holy shit, I gotta know what happens next. And normally, if a play is doing that to you on paper, dude, with good actors and a good director, it's gonna fucking kill it, Right. The play that I had mentioned to you guys earlier, Living Out, that we did at MSP in 2012, like when I read that play, it flew off the pages. I remember coming back and telling Claire, I was like, this play is amazing. Of course I'll do it, even though I'm not a mother and I don't have any kids and I don't know anything about motherhood, but I knew the play spoke to people and I knew it had a great message and it had great characters and it was written really well. And yeah, it was an outstanding play. So when a play flies off the page, man, it's going to be dynamite. It's going to be dynamite.
Wow. Before we start wrapping up, I kind of wanted to ask, is it difficult to not in a industry that's so emotionally connected to oneself as far
Right.
As far as theater goes? Is it difficult to not, quote unquote, bring your work home with you? As far as there was an actor who can't get this fucking scene, can't get that emotion, can't cry, whatever the case may be. Is it difficult for you to leave it at Main Street and then when you get home, you're kind of like,
oh yeah, definitely. I mean, again, even in my regular job, I check my shit at the door when I get home, and just like I check my personal shit at the door when I arrive at work. But I will say that even as an actor, I know that some actors like struggle, let's say, getting out of character. I never really been one to that's just not how I act. That's not my process. I try to bring more of myself to the character than the other way around. So I'm not like one of these actors that like, oh, I disappear and I get lost in my character and I disappear. I'm like, no, like, all right, I see this character, but I'm going to be me, I'm going to be who I am and I'm going to perform this interpretation in a way that suits me, So even roles where like they were very emotional, like, I was in a play in college where it was a short play. It was only like maybe 30 minutes long, but in the first 10 minutes, my character went through a very tragic death. So I was like the first 10 minutes of the play, like super happy. My granddaughter, mind you, I'm in college playing a grandfather. That's how it is in college. Yeah. Like in college, like there ain't no old people, you know what I mean? So like everybody's got to play a grandpa at some point in college. So my granddaughter just graduated from college. The next scene, she dies in a plane crash. And I had to go through a lot of like, in a very short time, because like from the time the lights went down to the time the lights came back up, I had like 15 seconds to get myself emotionally into that zone of I'm crying and I'm heartbroken. And when the play was done, you go outside, you smoke a cigarette, you decompress, and you're ready to go, and life moves on.
You're not emotionally drained?
Oh, you're drained. Yeah. You're emotionally drained, but like, you're still ready to go out and have a beer and share some laughs with your friends. Man. I mean, even shows where I've been the villain, the show where I was the rapist, I've had shows where people after the show don't even come talk to me because they're like, yo, you're still like with your bald ass head. You know, I shaved my head for a role. And like, you're over here looking intimidating. And you were just on the stage for the last hour and a half screaming and scaring the shit out of me. And now you're over here laughing and joking. And I'm like, yeah, because that's not really me. That's
Acting,
just
baby.
an acting, you know?
Acting.
Like, yeah, I'm good. You don't got to worry about me. You know, you disconnect. You disconnect. So yeah, I've never been one to like completely lose myself in it. So that's just not how I am.
Very cool. Very professional.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then lastly, before we wrap up, Danny, have you ever had someone come up to you after a performance, whether you're in acting in it or directing it, whatever the case may be, that they were offended by what they saw? Maybe you portrayed someone of a certain religion, a certain ethnicity, a certain sexual orientation, and they were offended.
No. Probably. Honestly, I was only ever involved in one production that the play itself was like really out there.
Like pushing the envelope?
Yeah. And I won't get into too much details, but suffice it to say, even when I read the play, I was like, why would anybody do this? Why would anybody do this play? This play makes no fucking sense to me. I auditioned for it because, you know, it was a local theater company I had wanted to work with. There was an opening, and I was like, all right, I'll do it. You know, this was right after I had graduated college, so I was still auditioning for a lot of things around and stuff like that. And I got cast to be in it, and I knew that when I left, people were like, this was the weirdest thing I ever seen in my fucking life.
You think they did it just for the shock factor?
I think they did it because the director liked the play and wanted to make a statement. I don't know. Honestly, this writer... look, I'll say the name of the play. The play was called Cleansed, and the writer, I think her name was Sarah Kane. Anyway, she was a fucking nut job. She wrote Blasted that they did at Gable Stage a few years back. Yeah. So you remember that one. Dude, Blasted is another one. Super offensive, super out there. This lady was like, she legit spent time in a mental institution. You know? Yeah, she was nuts. And I would have never in a million years picked this play. Whatever. And they did it, and you know, the play came out fine, but yeah, the subject matter was very questionable and very offensive. And to be honest with you, MSP, we don't really do, while we do work that is like edgy and pushes the envelope, I'm not going to do a play that is like offensive for offensive sake. You know, right. If you're going to be offensive and you're going to do things that push the envelope, it better...
You're saying something.
Yeah, you better say something. You better have a message. You better tell a story. You better have compelling characters that make the audience forget that they just saw something grotesque or saw something that is, you know, kind of insulting to them. Give
me an example of a show that pushed the envelope but did it in a, I guess, respectable way, or there was some sort of merit to it. I remember, I never watched it, but I know Equus, you know, got into big, not heat, but, you know, when Daniel Radcliffe was naked for it.
Yeah, I mean, nudity is always like a big thing, you know.
And male nudity more so.
Yeah, so, you know, look, you know, we did a play, oh my God, Clark Gable Slept Here.
Yeah.
You know, and one of the actors
was Chris in that?
No.
No?
One of the actors... was naked for the first 10 minutes or 15 minutes of the play, but you know, he's laying face down on a comforter or whatever on the stage, and his bare ass is exposed. And I remember it was like a big thing because we had to put that there was male nudity and this and that.
Did he have a cock sock on?
No. And when he jumped up, you know, he pulled the sheet up with him and did his best to cover his manhood. But you know. Yeah, I can't, off the top of my head, I can't really think of one that I've ever been involved with or read that like was, you know, sort of edgy in a way that would turn somebody off, you know. Right. Again, MSP, you know, we know who our audience is. You know, it's an older community in Miami Lakes. You know, it's diverse. We got white people, we got brown people. So the last thing I want to do is put on a play that offends people.
Yeah, you don't want to alienate your audience.
At the end of the day, like, yeah, I'm the artistic director. But, you know, we're still a business.
Right.
You know, we have to do plays that are going to be successful financially as well as critically. And yes, that leaves room for edgy plays, but it also sort of, you know, you don't want to do things that are just going to offend people for no reason.
Right,
you know what I
right.
mean? Or do things that are racist or distasteful, you know, and things like that. So.
Very, very well put. Ladies and gentlemen, today we have had an episode of colossal proportions. You know what I'm talking about? We got a chance to sit down with our very own Danny Nieves in his house.
Thank you for having me.
You know what I'm
Absolutely.
saying? Representing Main Street Players. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful theater. Do you have the address off the top?
Yeah, the address is 6766 Main Street, Miami Lakes, Florida. Come check us out. MainStreetPlayers.com. Main Street Players on Facebook.
You
Instagram.
see it on the site, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah,
You see
it's
it on
all
screen.
On the website.
Absolutely.
You
And
can
we
find
look
out
forward
all
to
more
seeing that
information.
new roster that you guys are gonna have
absolutely,
this year.
absolutely.
Where can they actually check you out?
DNIEV001 on Instagram.
You see
And
it on
that's
the
it. I'm not on
screen as well.
Facebook because I left the Blue Giant many
Yeah,
years
yeah.
ago.
Yeah.
2013, I left the Blue Giant.
Yeah, if you see someone on there, bro, that's a fake OnlyFans.
account.
Yeah, it's
That's
a
a fake
Fugazi.
account.
It's a
That's a fake
Fugazi
OnlyFans,
account.
bro.
It's a bot.
Yeah.
Bro, they be making OnlyFans out of thin air, bro. But you know what it is, Emmy. You have anything for the people before we start wrapping up?
No. I mean, Happy New Year's, bigger and better things.
Bigger and better
And yeah,
Diego?
enjoy.
Happy New Year.
Oh, there you go. That's a man of very few words, you know? But he makes them count. He makes them
That's
count.
right.
Ladies and gentlemen, what do you do every single Thursday at midnight? You go on YouTube, you check out the new episode. You hit follow, you hit subscribe on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Deezer, iHeartRadio. I always forget about iHeartRadio. You know, a little bit old school for, the older audiences.
iHeartRadio.
Bro, you fuck around, found us on Pandora, you know? We'll figure it out. Danny, thank you so very much
absolutely,
again.
man. Thank you for having me.
For coming through.
Anytime.
Anytime,
awesome,
anytime, honestly, you want to come in and chop it up, I will
Bro,
be more than happy to.
We would love to have you back on. You know, this
Yeah, it was
man
a lot
right
of fun.
here. Oh,
Absolutely.
definitely. This man right here is a wealth of knowledge when it comes to the
Useless knowledge. Don't get it twisted.
Bro, I'm on Wikipedia at 3 a.m., bro.
Yeah, that's right, dog. I call them Wikipedia rabbit holes,
Right,
man. I call
for real,
them Wikipedia
bro.
rabbit holes,
For
dog.
real,
You just
bro.
click,
Hyperlinks
you click
in
to the
there.
link, to the
Oh,
link, to
it's
the
a
link, to the
never-ending-
link.
Oh my
Oh
God,
yeah. Oh,
never
yeah.
ending.
Stuff.
Oh,
But
yeah.
please check out our main man. You see all the info on the screen, so you can be up to date with every single production that they release. That upcoming season that we are all so anxiously awaiting, and go support their shows, whether it be in person during this pandy or if it has to be virtually. Then support them like that. Every Thursday at midnight. You know what it is. Holla.
And it don't matter what the world thinks. You can say how you feel on midnight in Miami. Where you can push it to the limit. It gets real.